I love the quote part, Bill. That's cool. I'm a quote person.
You don't like the or better yet part? That's my favorite part.
When he clicked play, I already get irritated because I know I'm about to start rolling my eyes with today's topic. But now, go ahead. I'm joking. It's cool. You can't use my eyes against me.
All right, that's it. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to episode 35 of Black, White, and Blue in the South, a podcast discussing Democratic politics with a Southern flair. I'm Bill Kimmler.
I'm Jamil Brooks.
And I'm Brandon Best.
And we're coming to you from Greenwood, South Carolina, a little red county in a very red state. Brandon.
Yay.
Welcome to our show.
Well, thank you.
What brings you here today?
You.
Oh. Why did I ask you to be here today?
Because I am in pursuit of District 10 Senate seat, which was Floyd Nicholson's old position, and I'm confident that I'm going to be able to flip this seat.
Fantastic. Well,
right.
If you like what you hear, please leave a rating and a review. Tell your friends about us. Follow us on social media. Or better yet, get this woman that you're about to hear a record deal ASAP. You see, this following clip that I have on the screen was taken from a South Carolina Senate subcommittee hearing just a couple of days ago. They took public testimony, and this unnamed woman testified. Let's give this a listen.
Final say.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I've got joy in the struggle. I've got peace in the storm. I got strength in the battle. I don't fear anymore. I'm a child of heaven. God hope is secure. I got joy because I got Jesus.
2 hours later.
Joy all around me, everywhere I go. Oh, even in the desert, still it overflows. I've got Jesus. So glad I have him. I got Jesus. So I've got joy. Thank you. I appreciate you hearing me today.
All right, that concludes public testimony of 1046.
So, Brandon, are you ready to accept public testimony as our next state senator from Greenwood?
Oh my God.
Oh, Lord, it's going to be like that? No.
What did you think of that performance, Jamil?
I don't even know where to start with that. Performance it was. You know me. I'm thinking, what is the intent? What were we attempting to do there?
From what I saw in the reports, her song had nothing to do with the bill that was being talked about.
It looked like it was out of place.
She had ear pods in her iPhone, and she was just singing to the music, and she did it for her full allotted time.
And you got to let her do it.
That's right. Now, we laugh. We laugh now. But on a serious note, given how we've seen lawmakers listen to testimony and completely dismiss the expert testimony they've received over and over, we might as well just all go up to the microphone and sing a song for what it's worth. It's going to get the same amount of attention from the lawmakers that dismiss expert testimony. We might as well just turn it into American Idol and everybody go up and audition until we get lawmakers that are actually serious about doing the job and listening to the experts they bring forth for their testimony.
Godly. I don't know what to say.
The gentleman behind her was trying his best to hold his laugh in.
Oh, yeah. Justin Bamberg was back there. He was just, beside himself, trying not to crack up. Let us know what you think by dropping us a note at blackwhiteblueinthesouth@gmail.com. Send us your comments, questions, topic ideas. You can find us on all the social medias, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, and Mastodon. Now, that's a lot. So therefore, we've created a Linktree page that you can find at the end of the show notes that puts it all together in a nice, tidy package for you. So please interact with us online. We might even respond. Hi, Jamil.
Hey, Bill.
To kick things off on a positive note, I would like to share a review that we got.
Okay, give me that. I need
We
that
got
now.
a review.
Okay.
This comes from Lori Lee 543.
All right, Lori.
Let's give Lori a listen.
It's always like a Bigfoot sighting when I find other Democrats around here. Guys, I love your show. You do a wonderful job, and you are both so very appreciated. You have a fan up here in Boiling Springs. Thank you for all that you do. Fired up.
That
Ready
would
to
be
go.
Lori Lee 543.
Thank you.
It's a big shout out to you. This will be the highlight of our episode because it's all going to go downhill from here.
Yes, it is.
Thank you for reaching out. I like how you compared Jamil and I to Bigfoot. That was nice. We appreciate that comparison.
After some of the stuff we have to talk about, we do want to go in hiding, but we can't.
We do. But before we get to the main topic at hand, I do want to bring up a late-breaking development about our eminently unqualified state superintendent of education, Miss 6-month master's degree Ellen Weaver, who came riding her high MAGA horse and has done nothing to improve our school situation. Teachers are still quitting at an accelerated rate from even before she joined.
Yeah.
They're leaving in droves, and she has taken on as her top priorities funneling our public school dollars to private schools through
Yes.
educational savings vouchers. And then yesterday, Title IX was updated by the Biden administration, and basically what it did was reinstated a lot of the language regarding sexual harassment and other things
Okay.
that the Trump administration took out because Mr. Grab 'em by the P didn't like that language that would have kicked him out of schools.
Correct.
So he removed that language, and the Biden administration put it back, and then they also added much needed protections for our LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
So Ellen Weaver sees this and immediately puts out a notice to all the schools in South Carolina saying, disregard, do not follow, do not comply. We are not going along with it. How does that make you feel?
I read somebody's post the other day, and I thought, me too. Let me start by saying this. First of all, as a leader in any company, you want to demonstrate characteristics that you would want your employees to follow, right? So if the CEO of the company gives an initiative and says, these are the things that we need to do, this is what our policy looks like now, and they sign it, and it's your job as the manager to ensure that your team takes it on. That's what you would do if you want to keep your job. I'm trying to figure out how this lady, who is supposed to be the leader of an organization, all of South Carolina schools, what is she showing students, teachers, and all of her team when she openly, as boldly as possible, says do not follow the laws that the president has issued and passed down? What type leadership is that? Where in your mind do you get to wake up in the morning and say, screw these people, I'm going to do it my way, and I've got hundreds of thousands of children who will suffer because of that?
And they suffer because Title IX is about accepting federal funds by abiding to these conditions.
Yes.
So if she says do not abide, that puts the entire education system at risk to lose even more funding.
Yeah. So it says these are supposed to go in effect August 1, those the changes that they made. And here's the things I want to point out. A provision that expands the law's scope to protect against discrimination based on sex stereotypes, sexual orientation, gender identity, sex characteristics. That is what it said. Here's her response to that. She called the changes deeply troubling. Ma'am, if you think that's deeply troubling, what do you describe your 6 months master's degree that you achieved? That's deeply troubling because you can't tell me that aligned with any policies and procedures in education.
She certainly didn't report it on her ethics filing report either, because it certainly was a campaign contribution from Bob Jones University.
Had to be.
It was.
There's no way you could have produced a quality, and you can see what that 6 month master's degree got you.
Here was another thing from her response I found troubling, because this Title IX update basically said do not harass, do not discriminate, etc. She interprets it. She inserts her own language on what it means. And one thing she says is that it is a violation of free speech. She claims it compels students and teachers to use a child's pronouns. Right? That's what she claims it says, although it made no reference to pronouns whatsoever.
It made no reference to that.
Still, that whole bit about free speech violations is awfully ironic because in the other breath, she's also out there saying you are not allowed, or more likely she's saying thou shalt not speak about CRT. Thou shalt not talk about race. Thou shalt not talk about any LGBTQ issues.
Yeah.
So she's already out there clearly suppressing teachers' free speech.
Yeah.
And now she's here worried about free speech violations.
And this same person is trying to train uncredentialed individuals to put them in the public school system because of the mass exodus of teachers that are leaving. So you don't have enough of them graduating their full terms. Okay, because they're going to school for their 4 years.
So you're heading into a different topic altogether here.
Only because she's taking me there.
Let's give us the background on that. What are you talking about?
So what is happening now is South Carolina, in order to fill the void of the teacher shortage and allowing uncredentialed individuals to teach in the classrooms. Now, of course, there's going to be some basic training, but these are individuals who definitely will not have received the training that any education's major or any person who has a degree and went through a PACE program or another credentialing program.
Let me share this with you because my background was in teaching.
Mm-hmm.
I taught physics.
Yeah.
And I was an expert in physics. I got my master's in science. I was an expert in the field, and I was pretty charismatic. So I had the energy. I had the knowledge.
Yeah.
I would have made a terrible teacher if I hadn't gone through my master's of arts in teaching, where I learned about the art of teaching, learning about student behaviors, learning about managing classrooms, learning the mechanics of teaching.
Yes.
That's not something that you get just because you're an expert on the subject.
Yes. So if you're watching what is happening at the state under this particular superintendent's leadership, though we are saying that public school systems has not served us well, public school systems won't be able to serve you well if you continue to allow them to dismantle everything that they're doing right now. How can you expect great test results when you start to rely on uncredentialed individuals to enter the classroom?
And that leads to the numbers now. If you look, we're 43rd in the nation when it comes to education. 68% of the students that in 7th and 8th grade are not proficient in math. And then you have 50% of the students that are struggling, are not reading proficient on a 4th grade level. Those are the facts because we're not putting qualified teachers in those positions.
Fired up! Ready to go! Fired up! Ready to go! Fired up!
This is the part of our show where we talk about campaigns. I'm running for office for State House District 13.
And I'm running for State House District 12.
But we are not going to talk about ourselves today. As much as we love to, we are not. We're not. No, don't even try it.
Okay.
Step back.
I got it.
Step back.
You step back.
We're going to be talking instead to South Carolina State Senate candidate for District 10, Brandon Best.
Yay.
Welcome aboard, sir.
Yay, Brandon. Yay.
First of all, I want to say thank you for stepping up. Whatever the motivation was, I want to say it's good to have a name on the ballot. It's good to have a choice. It's good to have somebody else challenged. It's good to have options. And for citizens to step up from the ranks, come off of the sidelines and put their name down, that's an act of bravery, and it's needed in our country.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. Well, first, I do want to thank Jamil, your mother. If it wasn't for your mother connecting with my sister, I won't be sitting here with y'all right now talking to y'all.
All right, I need to understand that explanation.
It's a small world.
It is.
So
your mother, all the way out in Saluda.
My mom travels, child. So my mom came to our normal Democratic breakfast meetings here in Greenwood, took one of the flyers that had the open positions.
Just for the record, your mother attends our breakfast meetings more often than you do.
That is not so. I've been on the sick and shut-in list. We're going to correct that.
When you're sick and shut in, she still shows up.
That's right. I send somebody. You got to always have somebody on your behalf.
We keep attendance. Her attendance record's perfect. Cool? Yours is a little spotty.
Her and my auntie. Stop it. Stay focused.
Oh, yes.
So my mom took the brochure that you normally create, and it has the positions that are open, took it back to school where his sister works, and the two of them, she shared it with his sister, and then that started the conversation.
Wow.
Yeah. And she came back home and she said, hey, Jamil, it's two brothers. Now, I don't know if you know them. And I don't know if you know how my mom is like real old school. She tried to make you know somebody. Yeah. You know them? I said, no, I don't. Yes, you do. And then lo and behold, I'm looking and I know your brother's wife. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh my God, I do know like a little bit about them.
My sister, she works at Saluda High. Mm-hmm. And I never forget, she called me and said, Brandon, come to my house right now. So I left my house at 10, went to her house and saw the opening and said, wow. So I looked at when the first breakfast came.
First of all, why did your sister think of you when she saw that list?
Going back growing up, my father has been grooming me for this all my life. My father passed away when I was 11. He never ate with us at the dinner table. He just wasn't hungry. But he walked from Edgefield County to Augusta, Georgia. When he come back home, he's exhausted probably.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there just looking at us. But he sat at the table with us and he talked to us and asked us how was our day. But he never ate. So he only ate late at night. So my twin brother now used to sneak out the house, our rooms, and sit at the table and talk to him. Basically, what he did to help me, because I have a speech impediment. So every day he had me to read some historical books, write down what I read, and I had to stand in front of him and recite what I read. And he was a Black history scholar. I remember one time I was in the house and I told him that I was a strong Black man, and my dad said, "Really?" I said,
How
"Yeah."
old were you at this time?
I was 6 years old.
Okay.
And my dad said, "Okay, son, I cannot allow you to say that." And I said, "What?" I didn't know what. So he said I had to name 100 Black men or people, influential Black people that paved the way for me to say that.
Oh, that's deep.
So every day I just go back to school, the card catalog, and look at Black figures, read it, and then when at late at night I talk to them, explain what they did. And so my 100th person, I'll never forget his name, Marcus Garvey.
Okay.
So after I named my 100th person, then my father said, "Yo, Brandon, well, you can say you're a strong Black man." But during that process, it's helping me doing research, teach me how to speak, how to conduct myself, and how to navigate things, in life. And those principles that he taught me then, they still apply today.
Mm-hmm.
So
again, I got to come back. Why did your sister think of you though?
He trained him up. Daddy trained him up.
Yeah, I want to understand this. My sister's never called me about anything. I mean, she sees something on TV. She doesn't think of me. She doesn't give me a call.
She does. Stop it.
Daddy trained me up. My aspirations even when I was in kindergarten, I said that I wanted to be the governor of South Carolina. They said, asked me what I wanted to be. I said, I want to be the governor of South Carolina. My twin brother stood up beside me and said, I'm going to be the lieutenant governor. So that was groomed at 5. And then later in college, it was always something that been an aspiration of mine. But life happened after college. So it kind of put that in the back burner when my mother fell ill. So I was a caregiver until she passed away with dementia. And during my college years, I interned with the late Ada Fisher. She was the first Black Republican chairwoman in North Carolina. And what happened with interning with her was challenges. I mean, that was when Obama was running for president. And I'm going around in a Democratic area, pulling up Republican signs in yards, getting chased at, getting rock stoned at me. So that wasn't the best experience for me. So, but that experience, just learn how the process is, and they got me excited to do this when I got out of college. But just things changed, and then now I'm mature now. I'm married, and
well, you're definitely married.
Yeah,
we'll attest to that.
Oh yes, and
yeah, we can.
So I want to ask you. I'm going to go back that you interned for a Republican Black woman, but you're running now as a Democratic candidate for Senate. Did you not have the same political philosophies as that person you interned for, or did your political philosophies not play into it at all?
I put it like this: all the Democrats were took it up, so I didn't have nobody I internship with. So my professor, Dr. Maddox, was good friends with Dr. Ada Fisher. And Lord knows I did not want to do the internship. But that was like a big time grade, and I had to do it. So I took it as a learning experience. And sometimes in life, life can be like spades. Sometimes you got to deal with the card that you dealt with, and you have to do it the best way you can do it. What play your hand the best way you can play your hand.
That makes sense.
So I took it as a learning experience what not to do. I can honestly say about Dr. Ada Fisher, she was really a public servant. She really did a lot of community service, and she would help anyone. I can literally say that. But I think she was just in an area that was predominantly Democrat, And no matter what, she could not win a seat. First, she ran against, you probably know him, Congressman Mel Watt, which he was an incumbent congressman for a very long time. Later on, I think he left that seat and he worked in the Obama administration. But he was I really want to intern with him, but it was like everybody got to him so fast, and I was left with Dr. Eddie Fisher.
Well,
I think that's a good opportunity for you. So looking at it going into it, like you will say that maybe your values and the way you would have aligned political beliefs were always Democratic.
Yeah.
But the opportunity that came up was Republican. So old school would say everything that happens for a reason.
Yes.
So from that, being able to see exactly how things were done, and I will say that even if she was a Republican, this is going to sound crazy, but not all Republicans are bad.
Yeah.
Just like not all Democrats, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes somebody might stand behind or under the Republican title, but some of their actions may align with what you believe. So
Hey, compared to how the Republican Party is today, she may be considered a flaming liberal.
They would have
comparison.
thrown her out, it seems.
yeah.
It seems like she would not be a fit today.
Prime example, with Dr. Eddie Fisher, everybody know who she was around the community. When I do door knocking in communities, and nobody don't know who's in the seat now. One person told me, is Floyd Nixon still in the seat? Mm-hmm. I said, Lord have mercy. So this telling me that this gentleman is not coming around the community and talking to people.
No, because he's busy doing goofy work in the state Senate.
Goofy work.
We're talking about current Senator Billy Garrett from Greenwood, and this is the incumbent that sits in the seats today. Just this morning, he was in a Senate hearing for a law that would ban books from libraries, from the public libraries. So we're now outside of the school realm and going into public. He would defund libraries if they didn't ban books and put in a process by which parents have to sign forms to allow their kids to check out certain books. Like, that's occupying his day today.
Lord
So yeah, I get off topic there, but that's what we're facing.
And,
I almost followed you.
If you think about that, I think if it wasn't for books, put it like this, me reading, writing, and just reading books, it expands my imagination, my vocabulary. It helped me with my speech impairment, which I still struggle with from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my father was like a drill sergeant. We had to repeat it over and over again. It frustrated me a lot, but I knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
I remember one time my brother had to say a speech in front of the school about his heart. And my dad was up with him till 5 a.m, helping him with that speech. The next day at school, Brian sounded so good that someone said that's the best speech I ever heard. Because my dad took the time and poured in. Because my father said, you got to think well, you got to speak well, you got to act well. So he drilled that in my head. Think well, speak well, act well. Those principles, you got to make wise decisions.
I want to talk about your campaign a bit, but as way of introduction, you spoke at the Greenwood County Democratic Party back on April 6th, I believe, at the breakfast meeting. Can I play a clip of that?
Oh, you can.
Let's do it, because I thought it was quite impressive.
He's going to play it anyway. He just wanted you to.
Well, don't give away the secrets.
Okay,
I want him
sorry.
to have buy-in.
That's what it was. It was for you to buy in.
I want y'all to repeat after me, y'all. It's a doggone shame. Our minimum wage is $7.25. Doggone shame. The average person who works a 40-hour-a-week job of a $7.25 hour cannot afford to pay for a two-bedroom apartment. The lowest apartment rental in Greenwood County is $500. So I'm going to do the math for you. If you work 40 hours a week of $7.25 minimum wage, that's $290 a week. Oh, taxes, $250 a week. How can you survive? You can't. I want y'all to repeat after me. 4 decades. 4 decades, our Republican counterparts had control over the state. It's funny. I try to stay on script, but they are using the Lord's name in vain to get votes. If you call yourself a man of God, why our state is 43rd in education, top 10 in poverty and crime, but you want to pass a gun law. I got to chuckle on that one. Either they even don't care or they're naive. I think they don't care.
I think they don't care too.
So, I mean, I remember when you first introduced yourself and, you talked for just a couple of seconds many months ago, and how far you've come since then in your style, your confidence up there. And you heard those pauses in the speech. That reminds me of what you told me about the power of the pause. You put the pause in between some keywords. I also love the call and response, the repeat after me.
Yeah.
And you know what I love the most? The math.
Yeah.
I got a math lesson. He was up there carrying the 3, dividing by 2, crunching the numbers. That had me hooked.
Yeah. That's why I want, Lord have mercy, I want to thank my teacher, Miss Tootin, to help me with that process, but she's no longer here. But when you think about it, the reason why we have issues with our infrastructure is our education. Prime example, if you want to go to a restaurant and eat, first thing you're going to do is look at reviews. If someone say that this restaurant, this food is disgusting, would you go there? No. So you think about big corporations that want to bring jobs and expand their companies and bring jobs to South Carolina. First thing they're going to look at the drawing board. Wow, this state is 43rd in education. They can't even, these people not even smart enough to work my business, my company. 2, top 10 in poverty and crime. It's a impoverished area, fully crime. I cannot make no money in this area. So that moves jobs to go to other states instead of our state because of education. If you look at that too as well, as words from Nelson Mandela, I'm paraphrasing because a lack of education will destroy our children's future. So right now, our children's future are on the foot on the grave, on the banana peel, and one on the grave because we 43rd nation. Like Dr. Bush just stated, and you said too, we put unqualified people in positions. So you putting them in the positions, they're just working to get a paycheck. They don't.
Just refer you back to our last episode about Curtis Loftus, talk about unqualified people in positions ruining things.
Yeah.
Go back to episode 34 and take a listen to that. I'm still burning over that topic.
Yeah, me too.
So you got people unqualified people in those positions, and not only that, they are underpaid. And I can tell you firsthand, I worked that job that underpaid me, and I did not give my best effort because the pay wasn't worth it.
Now, you've actually had some interesting jobs in your day.
Oh, yes.
Let's talk about some of the interesting ones. You were a private investigator. You were a PI?
Assistant private investigator.
Assistant.
I was working with my older brother as a private practice. Before I worked with him, it was his job I worked at. Lord have mercy, didn't pay me what I'm worth. But I had to do what I had to do. So my brother's business grew, and he called me and said, Brandon, I need some help. And I said, when can I start? And I left my steel-toe boots. I threw them in the trash can. I never looked back. So I worked with him. I was a process server. So I served papers with DSS. And then later on, my brother was in the process of getting top secret clearance license so he can expand his company. So
top secret clearance?
Yes.
What was he trying to expand into? Is he going into the Secret Service or something?
He would just won't have his company to do national background checks on everyone.
Okay.
So if any big major company or CIA or I say government want to do background checks, they come to him, and he do the background checks, and he charged him a fee. I'm gonna tell you something. It is the best kept secret. So during the process, he was like, "Hey, Brandon, I want you to do this with me." So for order for me to get my license, I had to work for 3 years to apply for my PI license. But he passed away on my second year during the process. So that death was like how can I say, it was a shocker to the whole family. Not during that time, that same night, I can say this. That day I stayed at home 'cause I had to take care of my mother because she was, with dementia. So working with my brother was a great thing. So it gave me time to take care of my mother. So if I worked with him that day, somebody to stay home and watch her while I was taking care of her. And so that day I stayed home and took care of my mom. We talked for 10 minutes. He told me about his day, and I said, okay, and then I left the conversation. He said, Brandon, I'm gonna call you back. I want to spend time with my family. A minute after that, at that conversation, he had mass heart attack and died.
Mm.
So, and not only that same night, my mother had an aneurysm. So,
ooh, that's heavy.
So we had to rush her to the hospital, and I didn't even know that he passed away.
Mm.
So normally when something happens to our mom, we call all our siblings, and I get the call late that night and said, "Hey, my sister Ursula called me, and she said she was in Colombia." I said, I said, what the heck you doing in Columbia? You live in Abbeville. And she said, something happened to Buddy. I said, is he okay? And he said, no, he passed away. I said, what? So the crazy part about it was we had 4 employees, and that means the business shifted to me. Pressure. I had no access to his business accounts or nothing. I know how I'm going to pay. We had employees that depended on us every Friday to get paid. So now that the me being charged with livelihood was pressure. Not only that, I'm knowing that we're going to plan 2 funerals in a few weeks. So
that is a trial nobody should have to go through. That is a trial.
One day, it was so stressful, and I was sitting on his desk just thinking about how I'm gonna navigate certain things in this business. I just drove home, drove to Augusta to see Mama, and I saw her just in the bed, and she looked like she don't know where she was at. I sat back and laid my head down to rest. I woke up this morning. I had white nose hairs, and this gray part came right here, and I got a gray streak in my hair. I said, wow. If I come to president of the United States one day, this will happen to me. I would change. Like it was a stress, and I had a pain right here to here, and then so to keep his business going, like the money that was coming in, I couldn't touch it.
Yeah.
So I had to pull money out of my personal account to pay the employees each week to keep things going.
I want to kind of sidetrack just a tad bit when you're talking about keeping a company going. So let's say June 11th, you win the primary, because what we didn't mention is that he's primary, right? So you got a couple of other Democrats that are vowing for this same seat. Let's say you win the June 11th primary, and then November 5th, let's just say you kick butt and you take that too. Now you are our representative, our state Senate for District 10, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Considering jobs, what you just described, what are some things that you would like to see happen for people that could potentially be in the situation that you were in? And I'm going to preface this by saying this is a question that I didn't ask you. You couldn't prep for it. Yeah. But I'm just curious, like when you know that business people, because what you described to me is something that's passionate to me. It's a small business. He was an entrepreneur. He has a small number of employees. So what would you like to do at the Senate level that could take care of companies that resembled your brothers?
Small businesses make the community that we have here. A lot of these businesses that you see downtown, they're basically all small businesses. First off, I'm gonna say this first. When I get elected, I know I'm gonna be a newbie. I'm going to learn the job first at hand, and then what I want to do with small businesses is bring funding to small businesses as well, because they part of the community. So we have to invest in businesses that part of our community. And also too is what companies, people who want to start small businesses, have banks give them loans, but in the sense of giving them small loans, but make sure they invest back into the community. And also, don't hire anybody outside the community. Hire folks inside the community so the community can grow. So those things I would like to start with when it comes to small businesses in South Carolina.
Jamil made an important point. You are running in a primary, so you have an opponent you have to get past first.
Yes.
And I think I appreciate that you haven't said a peep about, for, or against your Democratic opponent.
No.
You have been focused primarily on the Republican opponent, whoever that may be, and you're keeping your message straight. And as a Democratic leader myself, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I know Miss Francine, we both want the same things.
Yeah, so if I may ask then, even though you're not talking about her, how would you say you distinguish yourself from her? Because there are Democrats, we have to make a choice.
Yes.
So how would you say that separates you from your opponent in this primary?
I think, and not knocking her at all, I think my ability to relate to the people, relate to the working class people, because I'm one of the working class people. I worked at the worst jobs and I worked at great jobs. But not only that, my commitment each and every day, getting up, talking to people, hearing their concerns. Not saying that she's not doing the same thing, but I have not saw her in Greenwood, only doing the convention and also the Floyd fish fry. But I think she come from less than a pretty long distance. So just me, I don't want to say all due respect. I think she don't work hard. She does not work as hard as me. I get up at 6:30 in the morning, take my son to daycare, my wife to work. I grind all day until 4:00. I pick my son up, pick my wife up, take him home. I go back out there, grind, come back home at 7:30. 7:30 to 10:19, I spent with my son. From 10:30 to 3:45 in the morning, I'm up, right, studying and strategizing on solutions to basically help all people, just not one group of people. So, not saying that she's not doing it, but I know I'm doing that every day. It's a grind.
So I'm going to ask this question then. So she is in Lexington.
Lexington County.
How much time do you anticipate heading that way, or to get individuals to know you?
Well, just as the background for our listeners, Senate District 10 is in 3 counties in South Carolina. It's all of Greenwood County, from corner to corner.
And it's a smidge. Now, this the thing it's a smidge of Saluda. It's a smidge of Lexington.
There you go.
So it's not all Lexington County, but smidget of it. So, well, I say this weekend I'm going to be there campaigning, putting signs up. So, just the challenge is, I think we talk about this personally, it's not enough time in the day, y'all.
Oh, we know.
I get the most bulk of my work from 10:30 at night to 3 in the morning where everybody sleep, and I'm up. It's quiet. I didn't give me time to game plan, and I practice on speech writing, study demographics, studying numbers, because I don't want to go talk to anybody and bring my opinion. I want to bring facts. So I saw your sign that facts matter. Facts does matter. So when I say education is 43rd in the nation, you can go on South Carolina education.org and you can look it up yourself, or you can go on usnews.com and the numbers are there.
When you make it into the state Senate, is education your number one priority?
Education is my number one priority, period.
And what are the things you think would help us get out of 43rd and, shoot way up the list to maybe 42nd?
And be careful how you answer, because there is a fellow educator at this table who is current and is listening.
First and foremost, when I talk to teachers, everyone has a different opinion how things are going. So my job, when what I'm about to say, it comes from collective information that I heard from other teachers, and I write down and pray about just what best will suit all people. Number one, if you look at the numbers, like I said, if you got fourth graders that's not reading proficiently on the fourth grade level, it starts in the elementary school first. A lot of teachers I talk to, they say it's pressure. Middle school teachers, they say it's pressure because the administrators come in and they expect a kid who reads on a fourth grade level to read up to close to 8th grade to high school level. So we got students, and I hate to say this like this, but it's the ugly truth, it's the facts, that basically can't struggle to read Cat in the Hat in middle school. I'm not saying that all teachers are unqualified, but putting teachers that's not qualified in and don't care about the students and passing them on through when they're not really ready for the next level.
So really, they haven't started putting unqualified teachers in.
Yeah, but
that is the plan.
The plan.
Yeah.
I apologize, but we know I don't want to sound disrespectful to anyone, but we know in some schools we have people in a position that's unqualified for to be in those positions.
Yeah.
And some of them which they are rotten apples, and it spoils the whole bunch, and it affects our children. So how can our children survive if our education is 43rd in the nation?
So what is it that you as a senator are going to do about that?
When I was reading about the budget we have this year, we have $13.8 billion. And I was reading how they put you're going to put money in this, you're going to put money in that. It sounds good on paper, but what's the results? So we found $1.8 billion. Then I know they changed to $1.7 billion. So somebody took $100 million. We don't know. But we can use some of that money.
Follow the money.
Yep, we can use some of that money first to get by educators raises. Schools that are struggling in like finding we have a bus shortage. We don't have many bus drivers. Schools that's in the rural areas, send funding to them. Bring teachers there to teach our children in the rural areas. Expand smaller classroom sizes because students can learn better in smaller classroom sizes. And one question that I'm gonna say that for the news tomorrow, but one question that was asked is, should we take money from public schools and fund private schools? So if you want, stay tuned tomorrow on News Channel 4, and I will break that down to y'all.
Okay, don't make me come to News Channel 4 looking for you, please, sir, because I want to hear this
well, see.
Nope, you can't give us any of it now. You gotta hold
a good storyteller keep you know.
Well, we need to come to a close with our time with you. Do you have any final questions, Jamil?
I don't. I still say what Bill says. Thank you for putting your name on the ballot. That was courageous. So you never stop. You keep moving.
And Brandon, do you have any final words, any key points you want to get out there before we end?
Number one, I do want to thank y'all for allowing me to be.
Yeah, I was waiting for that part. Yeah, you should have opened with that.
Yeah. Thank you for allowing me to be on the platform. My name is Brandon Best. I am in pursuit of the District 10 Senate seat.
How can people find and learn more about
you? If you want to know more about me, first my website is bestfordistrict10.com.
And we'll have a link to that in our show notes for everybody to find.
And you can see me on Facebook as well as Brandon Best, and which I have all my public information, my number, anything. If you want to give me a call, which people say they're gonna give me a call, but they never call me. So I'm willing to answer questions, hear your concerns, and if you allow me to be your voice, I'll be very grateful. June 11th is my primary. I would love for you to vote for me, but most importantly, everybody exercise your right and get out that vote.
And tell us again what station you'll be on so they'll be able to come back and listen to it.
I'll be on WYFF Channel 4 News tomorrow.
Well, by the time this airs, that will have been several days ago.
Correct.
Look for Friday, April 26th, and you will see Brandon Best on that show.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, yeah.
And in fact, we may even include a clip to that.
Ooh, we can.
Yeah, so at this point, I'm talking to me in the future.
Okay.
Bill, put a clip to that TV interview in the show notes.
And one more thing. If you want to contribute to my campaign, you go to my website, bestfordistrict10.com. Your donations will be highly appreciated. I say this is not cheap to be on these streets. So you don't donate to my campaign. It helps me with travel, with gas money, helps me get signs, flyers, and also put people in place I can pay to put my signs out there and talk to y'all, because I can't be at 3 places at one time.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to learn how to do that as a senator, to be quite honest.
Well, no, the other ones had been doing it, and they've been on the ballot, and they winning.
They've been in no places at any time.
And they successful.
There's true about that. Well, at this point, Brandon, we thank you very much for joining us. And now for a little dive into the news.
Oh, are you ready?
For up-to-the-minute reports, stay tuned to this station. Now the news.
Well, as usual, we're going to end on a positive news article.
Okay.
There is a Black-owned children's bookstore in Raleigh who is moving after receiving constant threats ever since they've been opened. Let's take a listen to this clip.
The owner of a children's bookstore in downtown Raleigh says her shop and family have been targeted by threats, and she's closing the doors.
Behind the door of Suite 201,
we have Gordon Parks, Langston Hughes.
A curated collection of literature lines the shelves, telling the stories of Black children and families.
It's not just a bookstore, it's a movement.
Victoria Scott Miller opened Liberation Station in downtown Raleigh last June after 4 years of pop-up book sales from the trunk of the family's car.
Our 2011 Chevy Cruze, going from place to place.
A vibrant mural covers the wall leading to the store. Inside, it's a cozy, welcoming space for the children who visit here. Have a seat, breathe. You are home, reads a message on a bench.
This is a community space. It's a communal, sacred space.
Scott Miller says that peace turned upside down in September.
We began receiving threats, online and also through the phone.
She says at first they brushed off the threats and didn't report them to police.
We didn't deserve to have to say, oh, here's another problem, another issue that's intruding on the space that you deserve. And so we sat with it as a family and we said, well, What do we do?
Scott Miller describes the threats as sickening, targeting her store and family.
I think it is the power and presence of seeing a Black family unit doing this work. And I think that that's the threat.
She says it's become exhausting and unsafe to the point that Liberation Station will soon become another vacant space on a street the city's trying to revitalize.
How are you revitalizing a city if you're forgetting the people that matter, that are marginalized?
That's a question for a community to unpack as Scott Miller prepares to move her business out of downtown.
We will find our place. We will find the place that was designed for us, that feels safe, that allows us to grow, that allows us to have these tough conversations.
So in one of the articles, the owner said that the final straw was when a phone call she received mentioned her eldest son. So you deal with this abuse and you try to put it off when they start naming names of your kids.
Oh, that's your head. Yeah. That's a mother.
That's when she was out of there.
To the people, not people who follow us, but to the people who follow us because they don't like us, I'm talking to them. I believe that each and every person who tries to suppress a voice of growth and positivity and acceptance, I believe that they should be considered to be assassinators. These are individuals who are afraid. I think that individuals who are saying situations like this, a Black family-owned bookstore, and they're getting hate messages and they're trying to make sure that they can silence their vote, I think that they are the ones whose manhood should be questioned. They are the ones who should be even maybe removed from being considered a human, because at this point, you are trying to stop a safe environment that is not promoting hate on anyone. It is established to help others understand who they are and to feel comfortable in a world that can swallow them up. Why would any sane person who loves themselves want to display that much hate on someone else?
So there's two sides to this. You've got the business owner, the Black family, who's just trying to establish a business that should be the right of any American in this country. Then you've got the hateful racists who drove them out. So if we have lawmakers and legislative efforts who are looking to undermine and undo DEI programs or scare people about CRT or take away affirmative action or try to gerrymander Black voters out of their districts, which side of this particular issue do you think those efforts fall on and support? It's not the Black family trying to make a business.
It is not.
No, you have just enabled and endorsed the hate that drives the Black families out. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of this. And it's not limited to just this one business, as I did some more reading on this. And this is one of the true pleasures about doing this podcast and being involved in politics is that it
learn so much.
Forces me to learn things.
Yeah.
There's an article from a group called Prosperity Now. And Prosperity Now, by their website, they say that they work daily to transform current systems, practices, policies in service of an economy that works for everyone. They work to build an economy that is fair, just, and free from structural racism, where every person, family, and community has the power to build sustainable wealth and prosperity. So good for you, Prosperity Now. In August of 2023, they wrote a pretty in-depth article about how hard it is for Black entrepreneurs in our nation. Now, don't go pointing out, well, we've got this one Black entrepreneur over here who made $1 million. Yes,
that part, yeah.
There's always great stories and exceptions to the rule, but you can't point to that one exception and say that is the rule. They have faced, according to Prosperity Now, numerous obstacles that limit the access to resources and opportunities, whether they're descendants of slavery or not. Having access to that capital is the biggest challenge for Black entrepreneurs. Here is a fact. According to the Federal Reserve, Black entrepreneurs are denied loans at nearly twice the rate of white business owners. That is a fact. Traditional financial institutions have created systems and underwriting criteria that don't meet the needs of Black small business owners looking to seed, sustain, and grow their business.
So you get held back when you try to go the right way. So let's say if banks are not giving Black entrepreneurs the loans, you try it going through the banks. You try it saving your own money and starting. You try it selling books out the trunk of your car to get your seed money to start your business. And that didn't work. So there was this group that is in, I think it's based out of Atlanta. And there's an article that we'll add to the show notes. The federal court appeals the approval of the injunction to block grants for a Black women's entrepreneur group. And this was coming from a group of Black women capitalists that would invest in startup businesses for Black women. But the courts decided that that was discriminatory in nature. And so they wanted to block that particular group from doing it. So I go back to my thing that I've been saying all along. People don't want to hear oppression. But when you've tried to use the banks that have been put in place, when you've tried to save your own money, when you've tried to sell the books out the back of your car, now you have individuals who are in a position financially where they can help you grow as a business owner. Now we're blocking them too. So what is this state in this nation saying they want Black people to do?
According to an NBC News research, they said that the U.S. Small Business Administration's flagship 7A program decreased loans to Black businesses by 35% in 2020, the largest drop in lending to any race or ethnic group tracked by the agency. And let's think real hard here. Whose administration was in charge back in 2020?
You better act like you know people.
Maybe we can ask Senator Tim Scott. He might know the answer to that.
Because he declared that man pro-Black.
Yeah. So when you are, trying to run the race of life and your starting block is 25 yards back behind everybody else's,
it ain't the same.
And they make it illegal for you to remove the obstacles out of the way if there's pits in your lane or roadblocks in your lane and you can't remove them by law, what are you going to do?
What can you do?
And as lawmakers, we are not there to make sure everybody has the same amount of wealth. That's not the law.
That's right.
We are there to make sure everybody has the same opportunity to succeed. And that way the individual can choose their own destiny in life. But when you see that government agencies are intentionally decreasing access to the monies and then making it illegal for other institutions to provide that money, we need to have some more sensible lawmakers in there that realize the reality of life. And there's one business here in Raleigh that had to shut down because of threats to their business, and nothing anybody can do about it. It's just the outcome of these policies that the lawmakers are putting into place.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Black, White, and Blue in the South. We hope you enjoyed what you heard. Please take a quick minute and leave us a rating and a review of our show. If you do, it will improve our podcast rankings and give more exposure to singing Senate testimonials.
Oh my God.
And maybe we'll even put out a greatest hits album.
We should do that.
You never know. You never know. If you are a blue dot in a red sea, keep the faith, keep up the hard work. Change only happens over many years of work and dedication. As President Abraham Lincoln once said, "A hit dog will holler."
That was not him.
Oh, no, I'm kidding. That was Jamil's grandmother.
Thank you. Shout out to Granny.
Really. Abraham Lincoln once said, "Adhere to your purpose, and you will soon feel as well as you ever did. On the contrary, if you falter and give up, you will lose the power of keeping any resolution and will regret it all your life. I say try. If we never try, we shall never succeed."
Wow.
So let's give it a try. What have we got to lose?
The end.
The preceding podcast is a product of Big Media and copyright 2024, all rights reserved.